You?
Yeah, same. It's been a busy day, but it's all good.
Like like a good type of busy or like a bad type of busy?
Mixture of both.
Mm.
Mostly good.
All right. So with the coaching, like why I'm here, whatnot, like where I am,
Mm-hmm.
here's my OP.GG.
Yeah.
I'm like a top laner, and every once in a while, like I don't know, man. My peak is plat one, trying to hit diamond this season. So currently on that account, I'm gold one,
Um,
54%.
you sent me another one before.
That was WinCon, but recently I was like, you know what? That account has two. Like the game size is just so big, and it like that was just like a for fun account. On my main, I just didn't try, but on this one, like every single game I try.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
But
What have you kind of been working on in regards to like getting better?
um, my friends say that my like early like laning phase is really good, like my and like CSing and whatnot. So I'm kind of working on macro and like not throwing my leads. Like usually I overextend and die a lot, but like I feel like that's part of like autopiloting, and I just need to stop and just focus up.
Yeah, and how are you kind of like, putting that into practice?
Um, to be honest, usually before my games, I just like I don't know, I just kind of remind myself like, yo, gotta focus up, gotta win this game. But like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Is it working?
like I take breaks more often now, but
That's
like
good.
not like yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Um, it's something I actually hear a lot, funnily enough, where um, people often say like, "Oh, I've heard from friends," or um, "I think my lane is not really the issue, but I just need to know how to translate my lead," or stuff like that.
I do think that like I can almost always like work on my laning phase. Like I'm
Hmm.
like I don't think I can remember the last time I had like perfect CS all the way up until like 10 minutes. Like that just doesn't happen.
Hmm.
But
I mean, it's a very I actually help like share this real quick. Um, so some of the things that we in general look at, and um, part of this is based on something you shared as well, right? So you mentioned something surrounding, oh, on my main account I was playing mostly for fun, but here I'm really gonna try really hard. Um,
mhm.
we kind of really focus on that too, right? In the context of, um,
It's like kind of like a workspace, like
yeah,
how people make like an office or they don't study in their
exactly,
like room.
yeah.
I feel like this is like my workspace on this account.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to make a distinction between something you do for enjoyment and something you do for improvement. Get like improving yourself, becoming better
Hmm.
as a player, right? And so like basically the split you've got done within like an enjoyment account and an improvement account is really useful, first off, right? Something that's very obvious here though is that if you look at the amount of champions you play, right?
Yeah, on this account I've been playing a lot.
Right? And you kind of have to ask yourself, what goal playing a lot of champions accomplishes.
So with me on my main, I'm like a Darius one trick pony, right? And I'm looking for like a one trick, and but like I don't know if one tricking is the play or not. Like I know that people like LS and all these people say like make a small champ pool of like no more than three champs, and right now I'm just trying to find that.
Hmm.
And I really like I know Darius pretty well, but I feel like the higher up elo I go, he's gonna get worse. And like people started like you people are realizing, oh, Darius, if he walks at you and starts autoing you, run away, you lose. Like I think I don't know. He's like a lane bully, and if you can't really, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But the question that still stands at this point, right, is like, okay, so we're playing multiple champions, or we're moving away from Darius for what goal? And be like between the words a little bit. What you kind of mentioned there is because I don't think that there will be success beyond a certain point for me, or I don't think I'll climb further.
Yeah, and like as of right now on this account, like I have a 35% win rate, 23 games on Darius. Like,
Right? Which is again like the very success focused mentality, right? Um,
hmm
but this is very different from the first distinction we make, right? Like something we do for
improvement.
fun or for
Yeah.
improving ourselves, getting better. And
Do you think that Darius is a good champ to improve?
yes, absolutely. I'll go into detail about that more later. But first off, let's like talk about the distinction between focusing on success and focusing on improving first, because that's a very relevant distinction to make here. Because a lot of people, yourself, like between the words included, right, often come towards a coach with like, "Oh, I really want to get better," but what they really mean is, "Oh, I think I need to get higher elo because higher elo equals better," right?
Yeah.
Where I don't think that's necessarily the case. And within my students and within my sessions and my experience as a coach, I've seen literally only the opposite being the case pretty much, right? So something I really recommend, like beforehand, is to stop seeing your success, your win rate, your rank as an indication of
So
you
results
getting better.
based thinking,
Yeah, it's
basically.
it's very results based, and it's also um, you can look at specific skills in specific sports or other games, and based on those skills, you'll see the quality of a player. But do you play any other games or like do some sports or stuff like that where you really try to get better?
Um, as of right now, not not so much because like I'm still
Mm-hmm.
getting back into school and whatnot out of quarantine.
Yeah, in the past or
In the past, yeah, I used to play soccer,
cool.
dude, every single sport you can think of, like
Hell yeah,
football, basketball,
hell yeah. But yeah, soccer is
and
like an
then
excellent example, right? Like um, if you get a new player on your team, right, and you want to know how
mhm,
good they are, it doesn't matter, if they tell you, oh, I played at like, national level, you're like, oh, cool,
mhm.
like, let's play for a bit and
That's
see what you
just a
can do,
title. Yeah.
right? Right, and that's I think the easiest way to look at stuff in league in a similar vein, right? If someone comes at you is like, oh yeah, I'm master, that should get a similar response, right? Like, oh, that's cool, but like, what can you do? Like
hmm
show me how that appears. And in football, that's or soccer, that's super easy, right? You just like
hmm
look at their stamina as like super basic stuff. If they can't even like run around the field, they're gonna be pretty useless, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Apart from that, right, like they need to be able to dribble really well, they need to be able to pass very consistently, and they need to be able to get a very good shot or be a good positional player as a defender, right? They're very distinguishable fundamental skills that we look at in football players or any other sport, any other game, right? In shooters, we
hmm
look at people's aim, we look at um, how they peak and all those type of things, right? In
Yeah.
League, interestingly enough, a lot of people look at stuff like very vague concepts where they say, "Oh, I'm working on my macro," or "Their macro is so good," or "Their laning phase is so good," or "They are so high rank." But in the end, if we try to like make that into a practical thing, you'll find that it's very difficult. Which is also why, like, when you mentioned, like, "Oh, I'm working on my late game, making sure I don't die as much randomly," and when I asked you, "Oh, how do you see that in practice?" Your response was kind of,
So
"Well,
as of
I'm just
right
working on my
now, through the
focus,"
macro wise, I'm trying to learn. I'm learning jungle pathing. I think I have a really good concept of jungle pathing. I just don't put in a like play. That makes sense. Like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't know, man. People down here in like Golden Plat, they don't really. Their
Oh yeah, definitely.
pathing is
Definitely.
just so random.
Oh, it is. But yeah,
Like
like thinking back to
Shakos,
the
man.
example earlier, right? If
hmm
we think about a lot of things that you mentioned, right? Like making sure you die less later on in the game or tracking the jungler super specifically, even though the jungler's doing something weird. To me, that sounds very similar as scouting out a team beforehand and learning their weaknesses. Like,
hmm
yeah, it'll help you win more, and yeah, it'll help you like beat that team, but in the end, it won't necessarily make you a better soccer player,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of where I'm gonna start from, right? So with that understanding to start with, right, we're not necessarily going to focus on success. We're not necessarily going to focus on climbing or getting a higher rating or
Just
winning
getting
every
better
game.
as a player.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to look at fundamental skills in the game, stuff like some of the stuff you've mentioned, right? Like getting CS very consistently, where this is something where you're very close to what we consider competence already, right? Like your average CS is pretty good, your early laning phase. You mentioned, I don't get it perfect, like perfect until 10 minutes every time. Oh,
Hmm.
I think you're quite below that, but we'll go
Yeah,
over
yeah,
that.
I am below that by far.
Yeah, we'll go over
I
that
mean,
a
I
little bit
feel
later
like
as well.
sometimes,
Oh yeah,
like
sometimes you're doing real well.
matchups, like no, like matchups, just like they make it really free or they make it really difficult. Like if I'm versing a Jax or Darius, I'm gonna at least have 3 to 4 less CS a minute. And if
Yeah,
I'm versing,
a lot of people say that until they start practicing, right?
you really think so? Like
I mean,
sometimes,
I know so. So.
like yeah, I feel like when I'm put under pressure and they get up on the wave, it's a
Mhm.
lot harder to CS.
Oh, with that I agree, right? Like
Yeah,
that's without a doubt. Similarly, like ranged champions are terrifying for CSing if you're a
dude,
melee
they're
top laner,
so
right?
annoying.
They're so
Uh huh.
annoying. But do I think or do I know that it's possible? Oh, absolutely, I know it's possible. I've coached like two other people today that are way beyond that point and never have any issues with that, right?
Hmm.
So, do I know it's possible? Absolutely. Do is it difficult? Oh yeah, it's difficult, right? But so are just fundamental skills in general are difficult. Getting better at anything is difficult, right?
Hmm.
And from that point of view, I want to talk about the champions in a way as well, right? Because with the champions, if we're focusing on success and, winning games, then something you're doing could make sense, right? Because you could adjust champions based on what your opponent's picking, and due to that, you might up your win percentages a couple of bits, right? Basically
Hmm.
playing off of what your team's picking against your opponent, and because of that, you might win more games. That could make sense, right? Or something that you're saying is like, oh, when I get higher MMR, I shouldn't play Darius anymore because it'll be more difficult to win games and I might drop a couple of win percentages, and because of that, another champion could be more optimal, right? That's correct, but if we're
Hmm.
focusing on improvement, all of that goes out of the
Yeah,
window.
all that stuff doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
exactly. Only thing
So
that matters then is something very precise, and that's basically um, difficult champions, first off, right? Difficult and unique champions, they take a lot of focus from your brain to perform well on,
yeah, the
right?
attention theory, right?
Yeah,
Pretty sure Dopa talks about it,
absolutely. Talks
or
about it all the
Faker.
time.
Hmm.
Both have in the past, but this is
Yeah,
just like, yeah,
I realize that when I play like the difference like between Irelia and like Garen.
yep,
Garen, you're more
yep,
focused on learning the game, and Irelia,
yep,
you're more focused on hitting that minion
yep,
with your Q.
and yep, playing Aurelia.
So if I was strictly playing for improvement, right,
mm,
for the long term to climb
mm-hmm,
in the
mm-hmm,
end,
mm-hmm. Then you're looking
who,
at
what,
champions like Garen or Darius, right?
like, what would be a good champ pool? Like, I like,
Yeah, so
I've tried to make them in the past, but they never really work. Cause like, trying to one trick Darius like dodging every single game they pick or ban or bad, it's just too much. Like,
yeah, that's fine, right?
maybe like 3 or 4 champs that I can understand and that might always be good in the meta would be very nice.
Oh, no, that's not the one I wanted to send. So that I don't agree with, but we'll talk about that in a short bit.
Or
Let
just
me.
like swap meta or like as the meta changes.
No, no, no. I will real quick send you. You're in the Iron to Gold one.
I'm
Me
pretty sure the
and
top 3 on that tier list was like Darius, Malphite, and Garen,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So basically, there's multiple things to talk about. So first off, easier champions are easier, and they require less focus. And if your brain focuses less on how to play the champion, it can focus more on whatever you want to get better at. Right? It's something you mentioned, like playing Garen is just so boring for your mind. It like automatically already focuses on other things because there's just nothing special about Garen. Similarly, like Darius doesn't have anything special really. Aurelia has a lot of special things. There's the passive, there's the Q, there's the E, and everything like that. It's very unique and special, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't mean that it's impossible to improve with Irelia, it's just less efficient. Because instead of using like 90% of your brain, you might use like 75 or 50% of your brain.
So if I'm planning to improve, do you think I should leave Irelia just like
Yes.
kind of drop her?
Yeah.
Because she's
So
kind of like an elo inflating champ like Katarina.
so that's not the reason, right? Like it's not that she's an elo inflating champ or stuff like that. That could all be true. The reason why we're dropping her for the improvement account, right? Because the goal is improvement here, is
Hmm.
because she does like she's not as efficient as other options, right? Because you're only going to be using 50% of your focus on
Yeah,
whatever you want to get better at, right? Like yeah, you can improve your passes while wearing high heels, right? It's possible, and if you do that over like months of time, you'll get better. But why are you doing it on high heels in the first place? Like, you know,
yeah.
that's kind of like the thing. So to play on your main, for example, to just have some fun and joke around with mates, or to just focus on climbing there, that's whatever. But if you're going to focus on getting better at fundamental skills, then you would drop her not because she's an Eli inflating champ like Katarina or something like that, but because
It's so I could focus up on like the
exactly.
game state and like improve.
Yes, exactly. On whatever
That
you
makes
want to, yeah,
sense.
whatever fundamental you want to get better at. A second thing to talk about is the amount of champions. Something that is basically proven through all of our coaching. I say are in this case because it's basically something that everyone at Resolve already has coaches, coached over time. As like a combination, we've got like over a couple of thousand students as like sample size, and we've just noticed this type of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, 3 champions is really the maximum. Any more is just not efficient at all. And that's because anytime you switch between a champion, your brain essentially resets the mastery or focus. I can't wait a second. Let me change windows to the screen. I'll be able to tell you easier. I'll show you. So basically, how it's happening, how it happens, right? Like, let's say you're Darius OTP and you're playing Darius. Like, you've played Darius 20 times before. On the
Hmm.
21st game, your brain might need to focus on Darius like 5%. These numbers are completely arbitrary. On the 22nd game, it's like same 5%, etc., etc., right? If we switch to like, I don't know, to Garen, then to first get used to Garen again, our brain might use like 25% to get used to Garen, and then the second game, it's like, oh, it's getting used to it more, so it's like 15%, and in the third game, it'll be
But
up by
don't you think
5%.
that's like autopiloting though?
No, this is literally just whenever you
I feel
switch,
like
your brain needs to
the
make the
more
switch to a new champion as well, and that costs focus.
yeah, I feel like I play so much Darius that I start autopiloting. Like
That's yeah, that's part of it, right? Because your brain is so used to what it expects from that champion that
to
it
use
doesn't
that
need to focus on it
autopilot,
anymore.
use the autopilot to like, since it is freeing up like thinking and whatnot, just think about the game when you're.
Yeah,
Oh,
so the thing that often happens, and this is like why I don't think what you're saying is entirely correct, but it makes sense, right? It feels like autopilot because what you're doing is you have this 5% focus on Darius, and then you've got this other like 95%, assuming that there's no like outside things to focus on something.
hmm.
But if I talk to you about like, oh, okay, so what are you focusing on? Like precisely, like practically in game, you can't give me like a great answer. So this 95% is kind of almost wasted or used on something completely arbitrary or random. And because of that, it can feel like you're basically only just doing this baseline Darius play, like you're autopiloting, because you're not also focusing on some type of fundamental, right? If you're using
Would
this
you ever want to use like? Would you ever want to swap champs so you have more focus on the lane phase?
No, no, no. It's the opposite actually. So
So you always want to aim for like
yeah. So like
keeping with the same champs so you use less.
exactly, right? Because let's say we use this 95% to learn a skill, like for example CSing, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, if our like if we're trying to improve this skill, CS, right? We'd
Hmm.
much rather have 95% on CS than 75% for CS, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, this improves way faster than this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're just one trick ponying Darius, for example, you're gonna consistently be able to focus more on whatever you want to practice at than if you constantly swap.
Yeah.
However, swapping is possible. It's not recommended. Like you see, right? Like you get back to that 25%, so your first game will be less efficient. This in like actuality is close to like 10%, so it'll be like this, and then this last game will be like 95%, and then CS, right? Which is kind of why we say max 3 champions, right? Because anything more than that, you just like move into this area so often, and your brain just can't keep up, right? And we
Yeah, you're
also,
just wasting it.
yeah, exactly, right? You're wasting efficiency. And secondly, what we also say is if you're doing multiple champions, um, make sure to play 3 game or at least 3 games in a row before swapping, right? And obviously, this is excluding stuff where a champion is banned or picked away, right?
Mhm.
Because at that point, you might as well. So most of the time, what students do in regards to like just optimal efficiency is they just one trick pony, right? Like you said,
Mhm.
Darius one trick pony. Um, and then with the issue of your champion being banned or picked, which is just annoying because it costs efficiency, right? There's multiple
Mhm.
solutions. There's like dodging and stuff like that. You mentioned you don't like that. In those
I
contexts,
mean,
then
dodging, I'm fine with dodging.
oh
It's just
yeah,
I sometimes like I have a friend who likes to dodge, and I feel like he likes to dodge too much. Like
yeah,
I think he's resulting to dodging to gain LP rather than improving,
yes, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like I don't want to be like that
No,
because he's like I've seen that like he's not really improving. He's just gaining LP through
exactly.
dodging.
Yeah,
Like
that's
if
very
he has
different.
like a single 49% or 50% win rate player, he might dodge. Like
Yep.
he wants them as high as like
Yeah, that's
I
very
don't know.
different, right? Like that is the success-based approach again, right? Opposed
Hmm.
to the improvement-based approach. Like
Yeah.
the focus for him is very much on success, so he's dodging whenever the success is not optimal. But in
Hmm.
this case, dodging would be based on improvement because we're not getting the most efficient thing. That being said, right, like a secondary like this, especially if you're doing this a lot, like if you're doing 2 champions for a long time, it's very realistic to get this down to like 20 or to 15%, right? To the point where switching between these is way less harmful than it would normally be, right? So there's multiple solutions. Generally people either dodge to just like keep playing one champion because they prefer that way, or they get a secondary and just whenever their primary gets banned or picked, they play 3 games of their secondary at least before
So
they
what would
swap.
you recommend? 3 champs or have primary secondary?
So um, in our experience, less is better at any time, right? So this is a maximum of 3 champions, and this is mostly for people who say, "Oh, if I only play 1 or 2 champions, I just get bored," right? And
So
there's
do you think
yeah,
if I'm looking for like the most efficient way to improve,
yeah. Then you'd be
like
looking for
one trick Malphite, right?
exactly.
He's barely picked,
Yep.
he's barely banned.
Yep.
So you think that if I was like if I honestly meant that I wanted to improve, just play
Yep.
Malphite.
Yep. For example, right?
And
Like
then
that's
if
one of
he's
the
ever
options.
picked or banned, just dodge?
Either dodge
Or
or
what
pick a secondary, right?
who do you think would be a good secondary against
Any
like
of the others that isn't S tier, right?
so like Darius and Garen, right?
Yeah, anything like that is completely fine, right? Like you just pick another champion that's really good for that, or you dodge. Like either is a valid option, right? Because
So
like let's think about this as well. Like dodging is a valid option because you keep your efficiency optimal, right?
mhm,
Having a secondary is a valid option because you make sure that you can use every game, right?
mhm.
And using every like being able to use every
So
game
like
might be more
having more
efficient long term.
chances like what do you call it? Like your last resort just swap.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so more than 1 champs is basically there's only 2 possible reasons for it for improvement, right? First reason is because you're bored otherwise, And the second reason is to basically make sure that you're safe against your opponent banning your champion.
So,
Yeah, that's for sure. Like that's completely fine, right?
yeah. So
So
Malphite and then Darius.
yeah, so this is the first thing we needed to talk about, right? Like just your champion pool and making sure everything's efficient, right? And the next thing we need to talk about is basically what we need, like what to focus on at that point, right? Like in football, it's super obvious. Obviously, you're going to focus on passing and stuff like that. Let's talk about league.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
since I am going down the route of playing Malphite and Darius,
Yes.
on Darius, I can, dude, I can pub stomp lane like these kids are noobs. But like
Yep.
on Malphite, I, if I had to last hit a minion, my life, oh my goodness. Like
Yep.
Darius, he has an auto attack reset and
Yep.
he has high base AD and he's like a lane bully.
Yep.
But when I'm playing Malphite and I have to
Mm-hmm.
sit there and just auto like with a into
Mm-hmm.
like a Darius or somebody, dude, I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 CS. Not actually, I'll probably have like 6 or 7. But is there still a way where I can get up to 8, 9, 10 on Malphite?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right.
Really?
So, oh
How would
yeah,
I go about doing that?
oh you just CS. That's it.
Just do it.
You just do it, right? And this might sound silly for for a lot of people that haven't seen it, but you kind of just do it. But notice as well, like what you were saying there, right? Like you were saying, oh, when I play Darius, which, like you said, is a champion which has a lot of tools. Or I
Yeah,
think the easiest example here is Irelia, right? When you're playing Irelia, where you
dude.
can literally
CS is inflated by so much.
you can just press Q on everything, and you'll just get it, right?
Yeah,
And then
like
late
that
game,
champ.
you'll just like steal everyone's CS by using Q, and you'll probably split push as well.
Like
I'm
she does
guessing
so.
from
She has so much wave clear. She could start doing jungle camps.
right. So, which by the way is not something that's exclusive to Aurelia. That's like every champion does that, right?
Hmm.
Um, but like this is a great example, especially if you look at like a game like this, we have like 11.5 CS a minute. Like that's insane, right? Like that's a huge amount. Interestingly enough, we mainly look at 3 goals, like 3 separate ones: the 5 minute one,
Five.
and
Yeah.
10 minute one, and the one per minute. So this is one of the games where you hit all the goals basically. For 5 minute, and I'll write this down later. We look at 34 CS at 5 minutes. We look at 80 CS at 10 minutes, and then we look at 7 CS per minute. That's for competency. Uh,
Pog.
Obviously, you can go way higher or you can refine it way further, but for competency, we look for, I'll just write it down already, 34 CS at 5 minutes, for 80 CS at 10 minutes, and for 7 CS a minute, right? So this is competency. Once this is achieved, we'll
So
look at the next fundamental and the next fundamental, and right?
if I'm hitting those like every game, what would be the next step?
We'll talk about that later, actually. But that's a very good question. Basically, the next step in very broad non-details is in any resource management game, you
Hmm.
kind of first look.
Denying.
Yes, exactly. So first you look
Number
at
one,
getting your
get it. Number two, deny it.
yeah, denying. It's exactly.
And then number three would be abuse it, right?
Yeah, basically. Abuse it in another context, like it's extra efficiency, basically.
Yeah, like
Generally, like super vague terms, it would be getting CS, punishing your opponent for getting CS,
yeah,
and the third thing
on
we focus on
Darius,
is clicking and movement.
yeah, like on Darius, like I could zone people off the wave, and then they have like 10 CS at like 10 minutes, and they're like
Yep,
fuming.
yep. But the question you can ask there as well, right? Like, is that because you're such a good player and you've got really strong fundamentals, or is that because Darius is a strong champion that allows you to do that?
I'm pretty sure that like I'm a decent player, but Darius enables me in a
Yeah,
way.
like because another question would be like if you're playing Garen, which for sure can do the same things, like just as easily, right? Can you get the same, like can you achieve the same things? If you're playing Malphite, can you achieve the same things?
I can not do
Right?
the same things on Malphite, the same things I do on Darius, because like
Yeah, right.
zoning people off wave on Malphite, like I don't know, I feel like Malphite's early game just is just not. You can't even comprehend. Like it
Yeah, I
doesn't
get
even
that. I
like
get that.
relate to Darius. Darius just walks up to the wave and they have to walk away. Malphite
Uh-huh.
walks up and he dies. Like
No, I get why you're thinking that, but I think that's also a sign to you in a bit, right? Like, so if you're playing a champion that has less tools to just completely stomp with just basic all-ins, like champion versus champion, right?
Mhm.
The way to do that with Malphite is by being a really strong player in regards to fundamental skills, right? Like you were saying, like if I'm playing Malphite, I can't CS consistently. That
well,
probably is because
it
there is
it depends
something
on
in your
like the
movements
matchup.
and sure, but the question then comes like if you're doing similar things with Malphite as with Darius, etc., etc., why is it that you can do certain things with Darius and Aurelia that you can't do with Malphite? It's not because of it's not because you're playing worse on Malphite. It's because you're playing at a certain level and certain champions allow you to perform higher than that level and certain champions don't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
It's similar with like if you look at mid champions like Annie versus I don't know like Syndra or Victor, right? If you're
Hmm.
playing Annie and you don't have basic fundamentals, you're just gonna suck. You're just gonna lose every game, and that's it. There's nothing extra about it. It's the same with Malphite. It's the same with Garen. If you don't have fundamental skills, you're just gonna suck. It's just not gonna work. Darius is one of
Yeah.
those champions that's almost like that, but he has quite some options, right? Like level 1 with your ghost and everything. If you start W and the enemy is like stupid enough to just walk up to the wave, sometimes you can just auto
I feel
W and
like that
pop
never
ghost,
happens
right?
past like I don't know. It doesn't happen often.
Oh, it happens in Challenger, don't worry.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Golly, when people say that people never get better, dude, I'm scared. I climb all the way up there for like just to see people still dying level one. Dude, it's gonna be bad.
Oh yeah, no, but like that just happens, right? That's pretty expected as well. Um,
So, what are your thoughts on Camille? It requires too much attention and
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
teach game.
absolutely, absolutely, right.
Okay.
It's basically just like
So
a
maybe
difficult
like
champion.
on main, if I play like Irelia Camille, but like on this account I play like Malphite Darius Garen or like Malphite
Yeah,
primary
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Darius last resort.
Yeah, but
So
like
like on main
Garen,
I gain
Garen
LP,
sounds like
this one
a
I
good
improve.
option for you as well, right? Like you've played him a lot and you seem to enjoy him as well. I think Garen should be a great option for you.
If
But
you
yeah,
were to recommend, who do you think would be more impactful for or
I think either would be equal, honestly. Like,
equal?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of practice on Darius, like a lot.
No, I mean like so either Darius, Garen, or Malphite, like all three of them would be the same in regards to efficiency, like
Mhm.
literally equal. So I just pick the one you enjoy most.
I mean
But
Darius is pretty fun.
in regards to your main account, honestly, I just see it as a for fun account, right? Like you were saying, like I'm just like gonna have some fun. I'm just gonna like do some stuff for my main. So yeah,
Yeah,
if you want
on
to
main
play,
I'm probably just gonna like play like high skill champs like
hell yeah, right? Like
Camille and Irelia.
yeah, exactly, right? Like if you just wanna have some fun, then hell yeah, just play that on your main and just enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
like you should, right?
But on this account, we're focusing on fundamentals
Hell yeah,
and
we're gonna
improving.
exactly, right? So
It's my workspace.
exactly, it's your workspace. So like you can see, right? Like if you're off Irelia, like your 5 minute and your 10 minutes, they go really far down. If you're looking at like your Darius even, where you're probably stomping the Viego in regards to CS, almost, right? But if you look at like your actual CS, it's like 28 at 5 is nothing, right? And a 10, like
Um,
10, like 59 at 10 is
I had
terrible,
some really
right?
bad wave management in that game early. Like,
Brother,
Viego got
believe
to
me,
stack.
believe me, that is not that is not an like this is not an exception. This
Dude,
happens
I'm
like
telling you, man. Dude,
there's like there's like
I
two
just
games where you
got
hit the
screwed.
goals and those are all Irelia. Like even like this, right, where oh great, you
Yeah,
got the five
Irelia
minute
is
one
a
and then
CS inflating champ by far. Like,
but
you
like
literally play the champ and your CS goes up to like 10 for free.
but yeah, like what I'm saying here is like even on like the Viego game is not off game where you really messed up on wave management and stuff like you probably
Yeah,
did,
I
right? But it's
really
not like
messed up.
It's not like in other games you like consistently hit goals regardless, right? This one's actually quite close. This is a nice one. And you probably did. Yeah, you destroyed this guy. But yeah. But yeah, like you said, right? Like really messing up in wave management. Obviously, that has an impact. But at the same time, like if you're not hitting this consistently, then it's not useful to talk about. Something that we can do though is we can go into a game or a replay, whichever you have. Um, just go into a ranked game right now, and we can just look over how you get CS and how you punish CS, right?
Hmm.
And based on that, we can more clearly give you an image on how how you're supposed to really look at every match, right?
Hmm.
So something,
So
yeah, go ahead.
you said that like Darius and Malphite are what do you call it, equal, right?
Yep,
So like if I continued one tricking Darius, but then I'd use Malphite as the last resort, that'd also be fine, right?
absolutely.
All right. Then I'm probably gonna do that. I enjoy Darius a lot more than Malphite.
Yeah, hell yeah. Or you can do or Darius and Garen. You had a lot of Garen games, so
Yeah, Garen as well. But you think that Malphite and Garen are equal as
yeah,
well?
yeah, yeah,
Because like
yeah.
Garen is AD, Darius is also AD, right?
That
They're
doesn't matter,
similar,
man.
but
That doesn't matter.
Mal
Right,
does it.
like we talked about, right? Like AD or AP or like how good your team is. Those are very relevant for getting success, right? But if we're just looking ourselves and just looking to grow, then what does it matter how good or bad your team comp is, right? What does it matter that you might be in a bad matchup if we're just gonna try to get better? What does it matter that our teammates might be that absolute crap?
So for improvement wise, do you think I should first pick Darius?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So something we'll look at here is reasoned punishing CS, right? So I don't want you to just randomly all in your opponent because you think you know that Darius wins that, right?
Yeah, you want to go in like when they're going for the CS and you get a free
Exactly.
auto. Or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Right?
but that's part of like the autopiloting. I just need to think about these things, and
You
I need to
do.
like
You need to focus
remind
on things.
myself.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's basically what we're gonna do here, right? We're gonna engage the other 95% of your mind, right? Or as much of it as possible. And for example, afterwards, if we're going to focus on CS alone, that means CS alone, right? We're not going to run down our opponents whenever we think we might be able to kill. We're just going to focus on hitting the goals, right? So if the
I'm pretty confident if I'm just focusing on CS, I can hit the goals.
yeah,
Like,
I'm quite confident on that too. But I think you for yourself just need to get that down as well. Which is like
yeah.
why like
But
because
I
of
need to hit it consistently. I can't just hit it
exactly.
one game
Exactly.
and
Because
reversing a Teemo.
that's whatever. Like who cares, right?
And Teemo's in Zal. So Teemo
We can
range.
reverse literally any champion and we can do it.
You
It does not
think we
matter.
can hit the goals on any champ?
Yeah, absolutely. You can hit the goals in any champion, any elo, in any matchup.
So like, really?
Basically, yes. For every champion on the tier list, yes.
So like, then if that is true, then I feel like I have a lot of fundamental problems
Yes.
of like space. Okay, spacing is a big one. Like
Yes.
my spacing isn't like it's like borderline decent, like towards like the bad side. Because like
I wouldn't be. I think if with like borderline decent, you might want to say borderline competent because
yeah,
there's like
borderline confident.
because there's a difference between something being good and something being competent, right? Where competency CS goals, right, with a 34 at 5 and 80 at 10, obviously someone that's way further along in the process might like look at that and be like, yeah, if I hit these CS like numbers, I'm playing real poor, right?
Yeah, I'm
There's
pretty sure
been
the
there's been some like students that are further along that just like come in and message me as like, honestly, man, if someone can't get perfect CS at 10 minutes, honestly, just uninstall. Like, don't even play
yeah,
the game.
honestly, like why do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm playing strictly for improvement, what do you think about like I shouldn't worry about my teammates' win rates. I shouldn't
Absolutely,
worry about
absolutely. Yes.
just play to play,
Yep.
play to improve.
Yep, exactly. Focus on yourself, right? If
Okay, so I have some people who say that turning off chat is troll.
it's not, it's
Thoughts?
not, it's not.
So you think
Turning off chat is one of the most
and like
enhancing
muting all every
experiences of
game?
absolutely. Turning off chat is
I
one of
feel
the
like
best things you can do in League to increase your sanity, your improvement, and your win rate.
yeah,
If any reason, yeah.
like yeah.
Basically, the only reason to turn like keep chat on is because for some reason you get some type of pleasure out of it.
I'll be back in like 5 seconds. Just cleaning up my room real quick. Clean
That's fine.
mental, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do this game, we're just gonna focus on getting CS at first, right?
So the goal would be 34 5
Yep,
minutes.
yep. So we're just gonna
Thoughts on a cheater recall this game or
no, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just focus on
so
getting
just
CS. Yep,
walk up to the wave, last hit,
yep.
and like
Just
walk.
last hit. We're not gonna try and push. We're just gonna let Timo push into us. If he's dumb enough
S-
to just randomly push
I
into
feel
us,
like for last hitting, I'm better with W, but do you think I should start Q?
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? A lot of
Depends.
these
It
questions
depends on if he starts autoing the wave and then the melees or yeah.
literally doesn't matter. All of those things, like the only thing you need to do is just hit the goals, right? Just do it.
Yeah,
That's it. All the other
just do
things you're
it,
like
forehead.
thinking, yeah, that's literally it. You just do it.
I can already imagine it. Zenzao ganking me after one buff. Oh my
Doesn't matter
goodness.
either. Just do it, right? If he
Yeah, I'm gonna
if
do
he
it.
ganks you, just don't die and just hit the goals anyways.
So if I'm just going for the goals, does that mean I should even stand right here? Or should I just go to tower and
I
play
mean,
safe?
you can do that, but it doesn't like so there's no difference between the two. Is
It,
basically what I'm saying. So yeah, you can stand here and there's no difference
do you think
between.
right here is a good spot to
Oh
stand
yeah,
in most
yeah,
games?
like for success
I
for
feel
sure.
as if my jungler isn't standing here, they can either go to this bush or this bush if they have a hook and
Yeah.
flash hook. Cause like
It's like if you dodge that, then they basically lose the game. So I wouldn't be too afraid of that.
yeah, I got to verse some of my buddies the other day. Um, in a ranked, I just Q sniped them. Right, we all hopped in call and whatnot, and they so every game I walk right here and place a ward on the red buff, seeing where their jungler is. Right, and he had all 5 people standing right here. But the thing is, I knew that they were gonna do that. Like I just had a feeling, and I just stood right here. And they sent all 5 people around this bush and walked along this line. And the pike flash started charging Q, and I sidestepped it. I flashed over this wall, and I unironically had 3 people right here flash over the wall and kill me. It was so depressing.
Yeah, but like all of that stuff, right, is just success based, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
help us
So
get better.
range matchup, I don't want to get poked out by
Yep.
Timo, so I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
probably gonna sit in a bush
Well, we're just gonna, we're just gonna make sure we get as much CS as possible. That's it. And we're
as
gonna do
much as
that from,
possible.
yep, as much as possible. There might be some where we won't be able to get it, but as we're gonna get as much as possible, right? And we're using
Well,
abilities as a last resort, right? Oh, we don't need to walk up yet, right? There's no minions dying that we need to CS. So if we walk up right now, we're just gonna get poked for no reason, right? It's not dying yet. You can like wait even longer than that, right? Really, wait for the last moment because then your opponent can only punish you maybe once if they really get the timing right. If you go very early, then they can punish you twice because they've got more time, right? All of that doesn't matter. Let's not let's not focus on the minimap and stuff like that. We're just getting the CS. And we'll focus on like later on when all of this is going well, when the wave crashes and everything, it's gonna bounce back. After that, we're gonna focus on making sure we punish Timo for stuff as well, right? Which will be the second area. But for now, let's just make sure that we get everything we want. Nice. Want to make sure that the casters are dealt with because some of them are really awkward HP.
No.
Happens to everyone, man. We'll talk about a drill you can do that helps with all of
The
this.
CS show, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
with Soraka or like with any champ.
Oh no, you just do it with Darius. Yeah, no reason to do it with anything else.
Do you do you like the one where it's like just you in the lane or with the
No,
bot?
I like the one that's pinned in result. It's the one against Malphite for you, or against Mundo actually. Sorry, against
Mundo,
Mundo. Yeah.
yeah. Because he walks up and cleavers you and you're
Yep.
like, well, GG.
Yep. Exactly. So
That's I used to start doing that a while ago, but like I kind of stopped. I don't know.
yeah, so that's one's really efficient in regards to just like helping you solve issues under tower and stuff like that. So like when this like wave finishes under tower, right? I want you to slowly start and think about that's a nice idea there to like extend it a bit. I want you to start thinking on this wave about trading on Teemo, right? So what I want you to do is like whenever he goes for the cannon, for example, we're just gonna walk, and the second he uses an auto on a cannon, we're just gonna pull him. Okay?
Like right now.
Whenever he's going to last hit his cannon, right? Yep, that's fine. Yep, that's all good. That's all good. Right. And this is just the basic, right? The basic is just like wait whenever he goes for any type of, whenever he goes for a last hit, and we're just gonna do a quick trade on him, and we're gonna walk back. Oh, thanks, E. That's all good. No, it's fine, it's fine. It doesn't matter. He can flame us as much as he want. It doesn't matter, right? We're here for our own growth, not for his growth.
So
Now,
I do have both sums.
yeah, and if he goes for a last hit on like one of the casters there, for example, we can definitely punish him for it. Let's get the last hit first. You see that other caster? Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's good. We don't need to do we don't need to do all of this, but we'll talk about that more. Right?
And I got his flash.
Yeah, that's great. But if we zone him off of the minion, so he doesn't even walk up and get the minion, that's a win for us, right? Because in the end, it's a resource management game, right?
So you want me to hold my flash and hold my ghost and not do that?
Yeah. Not because it's better in long term, right? Which I might think, but that's not relevant, right? Not because it's better for success, but because it's better for improvement, right? I want you to not abuse Darius and all of the strength the champion has, to just go for kills where, something works
So
because
you
you're playing
don't want me to
Darius.
even fight him?
No, we'll talk about this longer. We'll talk about it more in detail later, right? Because that's easier than doing it right now. So obviously, when he goes for the cannon, we're gonna pull him in again. Gonna look to crash this wave. That's fine. Just look to crash it here. We can lose some HP. It's fine. He can't kill us. We're gonna base after anyways.
Jungler's getting invaded.
It's
So yeah.
fine. All of that doesn't matter, right? We'll look over this in the replay as well,
Would
and we'll
you
talk
buy
about a lot of stuff.
Tabai this game or what?
You can buy pretty much anything. Tabai is fine.
If I'm going for a CS, yeah, I want every time Teemo autos me, then
I mean, going Strikebreaker here is fine as well. Like, either doesn't give you more or less yes, really. And, like you can see, even though you missed a ton of minions, right? You're equal with Teemo, and you did nothing, right? So this is
yeah.
like something basic here already. And we'll talk more in detail about stuff. So basically, like whenever Teemo like goes for the last hit on a minion, that's a moment where we can go on him, where we can punish him for it, right? That's a bit too late, but that's fine. We'll talk about that more in detail. And it's also fine if you fail right now, right? You're not expected to like succeed completely. You're not expected to do perfectly. This is all very good. Yeah, hell yeah. That works great. Basically, the way to view it is if we hit the goals, we're winning the game, right? And it might feel bad for now that we're not, stomping lane, or we're not focusing on, like making sure that we win every time. That might feel bad. But at the same time, if we just get better at our fundamental skill that we're working on, then that's good, right? That's what we're trying to get better at. We're not trying to win the game of football, we're trying to get better at passing. So if because of that we might lose a shot at a goal, right? That's fine. We got better. And in the end, what matters is not, how many games you win. In the end, what matters is like how good you became, right? Because you can play 200 games focusing on every win, or 200 games and focusing on getting better. And at the end of both, it's a very different story. So if we just CS these three, and we're definitely gonna hit our 10-minute goal, which is pretty good.
I'm buying this for extra HP regen.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fine. That's fine. Generally we recommend just building the same build every game, honestly. Yes, perfect. When he goes for the cannon, we're gonna. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say we're gonna go on him, but it's all good.
I just want to freeze.
Uh,
Whatever, man.
we'll just push it then.
You sure? Alright.
I mean, there's no freezer. Like it will shove into team anyways, so might as well. If we shove it in right now, we can get base in.
That's kind of cringe.
What?
He walked in a lane, started taking all the minions, and we couldn't.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Oh, it's what? You can finish Strikebreaker. It's fine.
Bramble?
I guess, but you can finish Strikebreaker. You're not gonna be very useful.
I mean, I guess.
We'll talk about that more later as well.
I should have probably bought Oracle.
It's all good. Would have been a good option for sure.
I'm trolling.
But yeah, like you can definitely see, right, like in regards to your spacing, something you talked about, right? So often you're spacing in positions where Teemo can like walk in and hit you with an auto attack, right? Where obviously that's not always necessary. And there's a lot of spaces where
I could have walked this way, I
yeah,
think, and avoided another auto.
exactly, right? And something you mentioned with the autopilot, right? Like we're gonna just focus on everything we can here, right?
I mean, I know I can kill him, but should I?
I mean, if he really just trolls, right? Yeah, just kill him, right? But we're not gonna just, we're not gonna constantly look for it. We're gonna look for reasoned kills, right? We win that. Not like we'll talk about that too. But yeah, obviously, right? Like this is one of those games where yeah, it's unlucky your team's inting, right? But at the same time, we're not worrying about what
Yeah,
the result of this game is
I
gonna
could
be.
care less.
Exactly, right? That's the correct mentality.
I don't know. I feel as if I could have killed him a lot more this game.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll get to that point for sure. But it's important that we get certain fundamentals down, right? Just to be like, it's very similar to the guy, like what I talked about, right? Like, if someone comes along to your like football field and wants to join, or a soccer field and wants to join your team, you're gonna tell them, oh, okay, could you like run around the field first, right? To just know that you're like at least gonna be capable. And if they can't do that, then you know they better work on that first. And that's basically what we're doing here. Yeah, you might be able to do like the coolest shots ever. But in the end, if you can't, if you like don't have the stamina to run around the field, all of that doesn't matter, right? So yeah, you could have killed him many times, like so many times.
Do you mind if I kill him here?
Oh no, just do it. If he trolls, then we can do it.
No.
But notice where it
Yeah,
happened. Notice what happened there, right? Um,
I didn't have the normal lead that I did, and I died
well,
because I was.
that's
I don't
part
know.
of
I
it.
went on a minute.
That's part of it. But at the same time, right? Like, what's another part of it is
I
you're
didn't know champion damage.
exactly. But like, that's not the thing. It's not that you didn't know the champion's damage. You're playing based on knowledge, and you're playing on champion versus champion opposed to player versus player, right? What you did there was you're just going for an all-in as Darius, and either Darius the champion wins against Team of the champion, or Darius the champion doesn't have enough stuff to beat Team of the champion right now. But none of that has anything to do with you as a player, right? You're putting yourself in a situations where it's basically a numbers game, which doesn't make sense at all, right? Like if you think you're a good player or you think you're better than your opponent, then putting yourself in like a shootout where it's just based on the number is the least like that you'd never want to do that, right? But that's something I assume you've done a lot of in the past, where you've just played Darius against like put Darius against Teemo, and then Darius has better numbers, and your opponent doesn't.
Yeah, and I outstat him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You basically outstat him, and your opponent agrees to that like to that chain of play, and it's like you said, right? Like later, like higher on, people don't agree, like accept that play pattern anymore. And if people don't accept that
Holy
play pattern
cow, this
anymore,
kid
it's
runs fast.
oh yeah, he's so speedy. Should be dead now though.
Dies.
As long as you don't die. Yeah. Oh, you usually live there. If you just keep running. Oh, never mind.
I was trying to sidestep.
Yeah.
Rip.
But yeah, like if you're doing numbers versus numbers, then in the end, what wins is the person who knows the damage better, who knows who has better
Yeah.
damage foresight. But damage foresight is like put that into practice, right? Like get better at damage foresight. How do you do that? By like, you know, going for terrible all-ins all the time, and at that point, right? Like
Hmm.
you're not even getting really accurate data because what if your opponent doesn't agree to the all-in?
Yeah.
Or what if your opponent doesn't? mess up clicks and doesn't get hooked, well then, right?
So what's the plan for this game? Like the rest of this game?
So
Like,
right
am
now,
I?
what we're going to be focusing on is the 7 CS per minute average, right? So we're just gonna
So you just want me to continue going top and CSing? That's
we'll talk about that more in a bit, but generally what I want you to do is to gather CS around the map, right? So after this wave, right, the one that's like coming up right now, even
yeah.
though
The
it's
next one,
like
I shove and maybe take grump.
no, after you definitely want to go to base, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. But in general, because we don't want to just AFK split push farm and stuff like that, that's not
What about
correct.
this next wave? I don't
No,
think it
recall,
shoves.
recall, 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 recall. It's fine, it's fine.
I don't have any items.
I mean, you can if you want to greed, you can get the next wave. It's
Yeah,
really
I'm gonna
greedy
greed
though.
because Dragon's coming up.
Yeah, it's really greedy though, but that's fine. Right, but like for example, pushing this wave in general is already kind of like against like this is not correct, right? Against a competent team, you're gonna get killed by one or two people that are gonna be overstated to you and stuff like that.
Even when they go Drake.
Oh yeah, but like that's just because they're super far ahead and stuff like that. But that's not actually relevant. What we're doing here is we're just gonna gather as much gold as possible, and otherwise we're gonna be around the team if there's no goal to get, right? So we're
Mhm.
gonna catch this wave, then we're just gonna group around with our team if they're looking to do something. If they're not doing something, we'll just do golems, right? And we can just clear out this wave. That's all fine. Basically, the flow chart is there a wave for us to catch? If yes, just go there. Otherwise, go to team. And if team's not doing anything, do jungle camps. And in this case, right, like our team's doing nothing. They're just all scattered around the map. So we might as well do some jungle. And after this, we'll probably go mid. I like to just do something. And again, this is just um, like proper macro. Even though it might not feel that way, that's basically just because you're playing at a low level where stuff is just super chaotic. People don't play correct. It's all good. People need to get better. Oh, I don't know about this one, Chief.
Zed uses W and then that is win on him.
He uses ultimate as well. Crazy. We'll talk about that too, but that's not how we want to play. We don't need to go for like the superhero plays. We don't need to be like the hero our
So
team
what
needs.
do I need to do?
Just wait for your enemy to fuck up because they
I
will.
mean, Zed W'd forward. Is that not a mess up?
Um, no, you ghosted in, flashed into three people.
Yeah, I got him though.
Yeah, but that's
I got him.
so basically what the goal is. You're just waiting until one of your opponents makes a play like you just did, and then you just kill him, right?
So like, if Zed R's
Yeah,
like the Vel'Koz,
yeah,
and
we're
I
just gonna
just
kill
hook
him.
him.
Yeah, we're just gonna kill him, right? We're gonna. get the gold whenever it's there. Like, yeah, there's a wave here. Of course we're gonna get it. What do you think? We're savages that don't want gold? Of course we do. Next wave is greedy, right? There's no one on the map.
There's Zenzel. And now I'm running.
Oh yeah, you're probably dead as well.
Nah.
Nah, I mean, if we're lucky. Uh-huh. Oh, the rest of the team wasn't there. We're lucky.
He healed.
When I get the 5 stacks, yeah. Oh no no no! Don't go further. Oh my
Come on, come on.
god. Oh my god. Oh, you're not good for my heart.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're doing a lot of things that should kind of make your team instantly lose the game. But it's all good, you know. But like the Zed play at first, like that's the Zed's just fucking up. He's going on to you even though he can't just kill him, right? But afterwards, you don't need to go into 3 people by yourself and try to do everything. It's not necessary. After this wave, we'll definitely go back to base, because next wave will be super risky again. And just in concept, right? Like we're not thinking champions right now. We're just thinking, no, next wave is risky, man. You... oh my god, it's so greedy, man. You're greedier than I am. We're sprinting it down mid.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, my dad was talking to me.
It's all good.
I heard something about me going top too much.
No, I just said.
Or like, yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I just said that's very greedy, man. You should not do that on a regular basis. This is something that might work for Darius, but not as a concept. Definitely won't work on Cog Molotov. Yeah, we got out. Yeah, we're just gonna wait for them to fuck up, because they will. Because it's fucking gold. Right. And everyone in gold and any other MMR wants to be the superhero their team needs.
So like I was trying to be earlier.
Exactly. Right, so the only thing we need to be is just like the ultimate supervillain. Right, one that's actually smart.
Well,
Right, like if you'd be an actual villain and you know that someone's gonna do something idiotic like that, obviously you're just gonna wait for them to do something stupid like that, and then you're just gonna kill him. Right. So we're just gonna be that villain. And in the meantime, we're just gonna get as much gold as possible because
this
we're not
Zed though,
savages.
right here.
Oh yeah, look, that's an example, right? Like that was nothing cool done by your teams. It's just the Zed trying to be a hero. Same with that Zinzao, right? If people try to be heroes, then they die. It's been like that forever. Oh. You're trying to be a hero. Man, it's all good. Just go back. It's fine. Your base is dying. Oh my god.
Wait, they know I'm here?
Yeah, they know you're there.
I trolled.
Did you?
If I had ghosts, I'll die there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Without doubt. So how did it feel to be a hero?
Felt amazing.
Imagine it did. Really worked out for you as well.
Did. You had to believe, man. Okay, but why does everybody walk so much faster than me?
They're just hacking, I think.
Yeah, movement speed hacking. Gosh. Alright, so they have two mountains, Infernal and Soul's coming up. I'm probably gonna go mid and just
Just get that CS. We're not savages.
you know what, I'm gonna go bot.
Hell yeah. Think we're gonna give up on gold? Hell no.
You know what? I could kill this guy.
You sure?
100%.
You said that quite a couple of times, man.
Never mind. He used Ignite though.
That's great, man. Great job.
Listen, man, he does damage.
Does he?
A lot of it.
I mean,
Oh, help, help.
it's all good. We're skilled there. This is just tactical inting, right?
For sure, for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah. See, now our teammates are getting fed. We're spreading the gold.
Uh, go.
He
Wait.
lives.
Oh no, you should have just kept going. That's fine.
It's all good. We're spreading the love. I actually can't believe this game is still going.
If they haven't ended by now, will they ever?
Uh,
Probably. Yeah,
who
now that they have mountain.
who knows?
Go for the minion, go for the minion, go for the minion.
I mean, in the end, like soul doesn't really matter, right? Gonna let that
Really?
you gonna
What do you mean?
let that Anivia get gold from you? Of course not. Zed tried to be a hero again. Oh, the Zinzao, standing completely
He's the
alone.
hero.
And that's fine. That's all we need to do. Just wait for the next one to fuck up.
Go back, get some HP.
Hell yeah. That's it, right? Like,
Probably buy a dead man's.
but like, think about this, right? Like, there's two dead. What are they gonna do?
Nothing.
Exactly. So that's
But
what.
the thing is, if my team starts trying to be the hero, then I'm gonna get screwed.
That's all fine. You know, maybe it works out sometime.
Maybe build a slow push before Baron.
Dude, you can
What?
try. You can try. It's a good idea. I'm just you know,
You're a doubter. That's what you are. Shame.
a doubter of the other four people on your team at least.
Did we win these?
Oh, definitely.
Uh huh. Mm. Team mushrooms.
Ah, it's only like, you know.
Yo, I have both sums. We finna go ham.
Yeah, this Zed's gonna go on our guy, and he's gonna die for sure.
I mean, our team comp, can they actually end in a Jin, Vel'Koz, and Nivea?
Um, no, of course not. How would they be able to do that?
I have no idea. We just keep shoving waves, but they if they get the stop and we're gonna be done.
Nah, no, that's
But
fine.
they don't. They're starting to get the idea, boys. What do I do?
Yeah, it's good.
Wait
It's
for the
good. It's good.
hero?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's like if you don't know, always wait for the hero. It'll happen. They like they're just holding themselves in right now. See? There's one. I tell you, they're everywhere.
This guy right here.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's,
I want my movement speed. I want my movement speed. Home guard?
yeah, there you are. And there it is. We killed Aphelios, and the entire team's running back.
What are we gonna do? Do this for like hours?
Oh no! After a time, the death times will just be so bad that we just kill them. Or there'll be like 2 or 3 people going for a hero play, and we just kill all of them. That's how it be.
I don't think I'm hitting the 7 CS mark this game.
Really.
Am I?
You might get close, honestly. If you had better early game CS, you probably would.
You know, if I don't know. I could have killed Timo a lot, but that wasn't the point of this game.
I mean, killing Teemo wouldn't have. I mean, it
Killing Timo grants like you get more wave management, you get to buy
sure,
items,
but in the end,
and you
right?
get
Like with Teemo alive, we could get every CS. So with Teemo dead, we could get every CS. So,
I mean with Timo alive, he could poke you. I'm being a hero. I need to leave.
uh-huh. Yeah, he can poke you, but at the same time, right? Like if we're being really good, then he's not like he's gonna poke us an absolute minimum amount, and we can easily cancel that out. Also, if the game stops like very soon, you'll hit the 7. So just kind of shows, right? Like even though your early CS wasn't amazing, as long as you just like keep up with your CS afterwards, it's all good. It's all good. They were like super far ahead anyways. We just did the best we can, the best we could. Like